So it's the deal of deals when it comes to this EU trade deal, right? It's just absolutely nuts. If you missed my conversation with EJ Antoni, Heritage Foundation economist, I've got that video. I will share it with you. Just follow me on the Twitter X at Tony Katz, YouTube Tony Katz. My name is Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Let the radio show begin.
That drawing that I think I heard you say something the other day, that the drawing that was the subject of the Wall Street Journal report.
I don't do drawings. I'm not a drawing person.
I think it was fraudulent.
I don't do drawings. Sometimes people say, would you draw a building? And I'll draw 4 lines and a little roof, for a charity stuff. But I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women. That I can tell you. They say there's a drawing of a woman, and I don't do drawings of women. And
so this is Trump in Scotland. The trade deal done with the EU, which has people freaking out. And, of course, the question is about Epstein. And did you draw this? And did you draw that? And what does the Wall Street Journal have? I don't know what the Wall Street Journal has, doesn't have, what have you. What I can tell you is that it's not moving the needle. And we'll get into that. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. And I'm a guy who wants the information. And I'm the guy who has said, Trump handled this one wrong, and he rarely handles anything wrong. And I don't know if he's cursing in this, producer Landon. But what do you say, finger on the dump button, shall we?
also, Epstein was always a very controversial guy. I was at a very high position, pretty much all my life. In all fairness, I've been doing this for a long time. I had the top show on television. I had the #1 bestsellers. I had everything, right? And I was a very successful business guy. He was a very controversial. Who would do a controversial drawing? Now, with that being said, they say there were many letters done by many people, and many big people, big successful people. But I just don't. When you talk about files, I just keep going back, and other people too. Even the enemy says this thing is not correct, because if we had it, we would have used it on the guy.
And that, of course, is factual. Of course, they would have used it on the guy. So we continue down this maddening road. And for those of us who want information, we keep not getting information. It's infuriating. Did I say hello, Tony Katz? Tony Katz Today? Well, that's my name. That's the name of the show, Tony Katz Today. It's a great place to be. Bring your friends. Cigars welcome. I'm smoking a Connecticut right now. This is an aging room, Connecticut right here, a Churchill. So 7-inch by, what was that, 52 ring gauge box press. Always good for the first cigar of the day. The trade deal is what's getting all the talk. And rightfully so. The trade deal is getting the talk because this trade deal is just, I think, bigger and better than people imagined. It's the first one that makes you say, wait a second, what did Trump get done? But no. It's a trade deal that says, what in the world did the EU just do? Because this is with the European Union. And so you're not talking about the United Kingdom here, even though this deal was agreed to in Scotland. This deal has the European Union buying energy from the United States, military hardware from the United States, and ensures that the vast majority of products from the U.S. into the European Union, no tariff. Products from the European Union into America, 15% tariff. I'm not a tariff guy. We know this. Tariffs are taxes. That's what they are. But as I've stated, I'll take it as a tactic. I'm fine with tactic. I don't like it as policy. And when we saw this first thing unleash, well, here's the trade deficits we have. So here are the tariffs we'll put on. I was like, this is not even math. But in the idea of the actual deal, it is very obvious that Trump is willing to say, yeah, I don't care if it hurts. It is meaningless to me. What has been happening hurts, and it has to change. Someone in our chat room mentioning the first 2 rules of Trumpism, which I coined many years ago. The first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. That is the first rule of Trumpism. The second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. Nothing has changed in this regard. Not a single thing. The buying of U.S. energy. Well, the buying of U.S. energy makes sense. And the buying of U.S. energy makes sense because the buying of U.S. energy is because you can't buy Russian energy. As of all places, CNN explained.
When I served as ambassador, we were trying desperately to get Europe to abandon Nord Stream 2 and buy energy from us. And, you know, back then they were hooked on cheap Russian gas. They didn't think that Russia posed a threat to Europe. Look how a few years have changed things.
First things first, I have to admit, that's Gordon Sondland, the former U.S. ambassador to the EU. Couple things here that we need to get straight. The Europeans always thought the Russians were a threat. What the Europeans assumed would be that the United States would pay to thwart the threat. This is that great reestablishment conversation. The belief was no matter what Russia did, no matter how they growled, no matter how the bear woke up that morning, the United States would be there to put them in check. And so they could afford to buy that Russian cheap energy, even though they were funding the enemy, because the United States would always handle it. And they wouldn't mind. They'd look the other way. They wouldn't pay attention. They wouldn't care. What would they do? Get angry with us? We'd call them imperialists, and whoa, they'd shut right up. An abusive relationship, one could call it. And to his credit, President Trump recognized this early. And when taking a look at Nord Stream 2 and this pipeline of energy out of Russia, he looked at Germany, for example, and said, are you nuts? You're paying the people who want to kill you. You're paying the people who want to hurt you. What's wrong with you? Well, for conservatives in Europe, and we should agree, there are indeed conservatives in Europe, 1,000%. They knew this was nuts. They knew that this was an irrational way to go about things. But they were dealing with, in so many of these nations, these leftist losers who get elected by these leftist losers. And if you say to me, Tony, that's so rude, I'll say to you, I've seen Canada, maybe hush yourself. I have seen the not free, vicious Canadian people go after musicians who want to sing in a church, go after truckers who want to drive down the street. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't get to talk to me about sweet, lovely Canadians, eh? We're a long way from SCTV and Eugene Levy. We're into some really horrible stuff with the really horrible it was Justin Trudeau and seemingly right on par Mark Carney. I don't think it's a very, very shocking thing to say that the Canadians have shown themselves in terms of their leadership to be downright horrific, right? It's like New York. There are plenty of New Yorkers who are good and decent people. Most of them live in Staten Island, but they're there. But New York leadership, Hochul and Adams is not great. They're going to vote for this commie Islamist Mamdani. By the way, Mamdani, I guess he got married. He got married in Uganda. He was born in Uganda, I believe. Armed security and phone jammers. I have no capacity to make such a thing up. Wouldn't let people have a phone, get messages out, or anything. Armed security. For you, he has rent control. He has city-owned grocery stores. And Lord forbid you think you have free speech. Never mind gun rights. But for him, armed security and phone jammers. Never forget that all the communists think the same way. They think in the end, they'll be on the tippy top. They'll still get fresh fruit, and everybody else will suffer in squalor and be thankful for their rations. I mean, that's just fact. That's right. That same mindset is these Canadians who think that they're do-gooders. They're not do-gooders. They're just terrible. They're awful. But we were discussing the deal with the European Union. And we were discussing what it is that happened here, especially when we talk about the energy and saying the Nord Stream 2 was insane. Well, now we see that the Europeans are going to be purchasing hundreds of billions of dollars of energy. Well, that makes perfect sense. Where else are they going to get the energy from? From the Russians? They thought they could for forever pay nothing into NATO, get us to pick up the bill for their defense, and never complain about it. That changed, and they were very slow to the uptake. The person who understands it best and most recent, like past couple of months, is Mark Rutte, who is the Secretary General of NATO, who I think I would argue there could have been a conversation with him and the European Union and said, whoa, you're going to do this. The days of the free ride are over. That stuff is over. There's a new way. This is how it's done. We got everything we were going to get. We got everything out of the post-war conversation we were going to get. Now we write checks. The free ride is gone. And that really has been Trump's argument. And I will give him that one. I often argue that Trump was elected because he understood where the American people were, but that is not to say that he didn't have some of his own thoughts and philosophies going into things. As with all things, he's like, these people are taking advantage of us. I'll do business with them, but I can't be taken advantage of like this. We got nothing, they got everything, and if we complain, somehow we're the bad guy. And so that brings about everything that we're seeing. But the tariff on European products at 15%, that has got people out of their minds. That Europe is going to buy $750 billion worth of U.S. energy. Well, that's actually something that was going to happen, I think, no matter what. And there are a couple things in this deal that I think are they were going to happen anyway. They're not actually new to any deal. They're just, well, this is the natural way it was going to go. Like, for example, if you take a look at the purchasing of military equipment. Where else were they going to buy their military equipment from? The Russians? The Chinese? That was never going to happen. It was going to be from us. So it seems to me a little bit folded into this trade deal. The $600 billion in investments into the United States, allow me to ask the question differently. Where else were they going to invest? France? Like how I say that? Like I say that, producer Landon? France, right? To show that I'm a sophisticate. That wasn't going to happen. Exactly how many places do you think they were going to invest in? What were they going to invest anyway? There are parts of this deal that make me say this was always the way it was going to go. But what was Trump able to do? What is the real win here, the victory here that has a lot of people saying, how? He got to announce it on his terms in his golf course. And the EU, which has been desperate to try and be some hedge against American strength and hegemony and the power of the dollar. I mean, there's an expression being used right now out there. They got rolled. If you look at the deal, even with my argument that some of these things were simply the only way they could be, it goes into one sheet. Look at the deal. It's whoop, there it is. Holy cow. Even for the people who are like, I don't know about these deals, Trump comes out smelling like a rose. And the EU looks silly and poorly led. And as for Russia.
So now they don't want to buy from Russia. They want to buy from the U.S. This is something that is tailor-made for this kind of a deal. And I think very soon you're going to see what's, was known as a transatlantic highway of LNG tankers going across the Atlantic to Portugal or to other ports and depositing, large amounts of LNG. And we will become the dominant supplier to Europe, which is in Europe's benefit. and it's in our benefit. And it really, really screws Russia, which is exactly the goal.
Now, that's the other side of this, of course. LNG is liquefied natural gas, which, if you'll remember, that's what the Biden administration stopped exporting. Yeah. There's a lot of win here and a lot of undeniable stuff. There's a tremendous amount of geopolitical switch here. The Russians should be concerned. And there's no question as to why Trump said today, no, I gave them 50 days to come to a deal with Ukraine or there'd be sanctions. You know what? Forget 50. 10 to 12 days. 10 to 12 days. Oh, yeah. I'm controlling power markets. I'm going to bring your oil prices down to nothing, just like Reagan did to Gorbachev. You should make a deal, and that right soon. Yeah. Very, very good day. Very good day for Donald Trump. Keep it here. And for America. Let's say that too. This is Tony Katz today. Welcome back. Tony Katz today. What's going on? I thought I had ordered the smaller logo shirt. I didn't. Some of them are smaller logos, some aren't. Anyway, I do like this color though. I do like this color quite a bit. This is good. Follow on the Twitter X at Tony Katz. Be sure to subscribe at the YouTubes. Still, just as a matter of update, the total number of problems I am given by YouTube is 0.0. It's very, very weird. Very, very strange. Not a problem. I know all that work with Rumble and everything else. I have a harder time. Drive me nuts. But no issues with YouTube. And I see that the chicks on the right are in the queue. I can see them. I think in somewhat. No, they're just down. Basically, Miriam, if you want to do that again, this is Miriam doing her impression of Kermit the Frog. There it is. There it is. Right there. Being done. I just threw it. That is it. Daisy is doing her impression of being in a club. Not a club that would let someone like her in it, but still, she was in the club. So many moons ago, before the chicks on the right realized we could just do a podcast and make twice the money, we were on the same radio station in Indianapolis on WIBC, and they actually beat me out for a job. They beat me out for Afternoon Drive back in the day. But then they realized, wait, we've got like 9 billion people following us on Facebook. We don't need that. We don't need to wake up. We don't need to go anywhere. This is silly. And then they moved to different spots in the country. And look at them now, happy and joyous and not on OnlyFans. So I've been trying to get on OnlyFans, but no, I'm not going to do feet pics, producer Landon. My God, I'm classier than that. All right, we will have the chicks with us in just a few, so stay right there. Tell your friends, because we're going to have this Candace Owens conversation, which is worthy. Let us know when we're back, Landon.
And you hear a lot of talk about the one big beautiful bill. I want to talk about the one big beautiful bill, but I want to talk first about the one big beautiful agenda, because it didn't start with a piece of legislation that was passed by Congress a couple of weeks ago. It started when Donald J. Trump took office and said, you know, if you want to build something in Mexico or China or some other foreign country and dump it into the United States of America, you are going to pay a big fat penalty. You're going to pay a tariff before you dump these products into our country.
Now, this, of course, falls in line with the kind of person that J.D. Vance is. J.D. Vance has always been having this conversation. Remember, Trump's populism is not as core as J.D. Vance's, the vice president's. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669. 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show. I mean, it's really a huge part about him. And if in the event that he in 2028 got elected, you should expect much more of this. And somehow Marco Rubio, who one would consider a candidate for 2028, I know it's early, but you would consider him, he drops this one in a conversation with Laura Trump on Fox.
Final question. You just brought up your run in 2016 for president. You are talked about quite frequently as a possible contender in 2028. Do you have your sights set outside of the State Department?
Well, I think J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. And if, I think if he decides he wants to do that. And so, I think he's doing a great job as vice president. He's a close friend, and I hope he intends to do it. I know it's kind of early, but being in the role that I'm in here at the Secretary of State, I really don't play in politics. There's actually rules against me being involved in domestic politics. And I want to do this job as long as the president allows me to do it.
Now, I'm asking a question. It's one thing to say something nice about the vice president, say something about nice about a guy who could be your opponent. It's another thing to say, I'm good, thanks. Now, maybe it won't matter, right? Maybe this is, 2025, when 2027 comes about, all bets are off. Everything's different. The times change, the things change. You give the platitude now and you get out of the conversation. You don't have to deal with it. But back of your head, you're like, okay, here's how I'm moving. This is how the Machiavellian pieces move on the board and everything else. I was just blown away by it. The willingness to be like, oh, no, J.D. Vance is the best. Oh, he's great. Oh, he's terrific. Oh, I loved Hillbilly Elegy. My gosh, and what fashion sense. Oh, and can he sing like a bird? He can it's I don't know. I thought it was a little overkill. But it is politics. He can change his mind an hour from now, and he very possibly may. I said last week, it was a really interesting response from the chicks on the right regarding an invitation from Candace Owens and why they said no. Because sometimes conversation doesn't matter. Mock and Daisy, the chicks on the right, up next. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Thank you, producer Landon. Okay. Let me see how I'm going to do this. I may have to take down my little sign right here. Boom, boom, boom. Right there. And now, see, that's Miriam. That right there is Daisy. That's Mock. That's Daisy. What, is that the
What's that? Hello.
So first things first, can you hear each other?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We do this every morning on the same platform.
StreamYard. StreamYard is life. Yeah.
The yard of life? Is that what you just called it?
StreamYard is life.
Oh. Uh-huh. Lasso is suing. What are you drinking? What is that?
Oh, it's Native Hydrate, actually.
It's one of our sponsors.
Right.
It's a full-on Texas-sized can right there. Bravissimo.
It's electrolytes is what it is.
Ooh, it's what plants crave. So, you've got Mock up top. You've got. Do I have to move you? Like, should I move us?
No, it's fine.
Good.
It's like the Brady Bunch. You guys are like my parents.
Right. I've always wanted to be Ann B. Davis.
I know, right?
So yes, we were all on WIBC together. Yes, they did beat me out of Afternoon Drive, which turned
We're
out
not the ones that keep bringing it up, by the way.
I know. What is that? I feel like you may need to see a therapist about this.
no,
Tony.
I'm totally good. It
Are
is.
you okay?
It's one of those stories about how things work out better. Like you don't know what you don't know. Like
Yeah.
you don't know when I found out I didn't get the job, I was in a surgeon's office. I had torn the tendon that connects my bicep to my arm and my right arm. So this is 12 years ago. And I was planning surgery. That's when I found out from David Wood, our program director. Yeah, we're not interested in your kind.
Oh,
We
my
got ladies to handle this. So it's like that was the
Yes.
crap.
He wasn't interested yet.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he
And
took
then-
some wooing. There was-
Yeah, and then you became like the big man on campus, right? And we were just the girls in a huge frat party over there,
Mhm.
which was
That's
so
right.
fun. God, we had fun there. Did we
It was
not?
good times.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really did. We did have
It was
fun.
super fun.
Seriously, some of the best years of my professional life, without question. Those
Oh,
8
now?
years. Oh, we have a lot of fun now because we can say whatever we want now. There are no
Right.
holds barred on what we say now. And Mock can say all the bad words. I was going to say one of them, but
And I do.
Well, listen,
yeah, we can say all the bad
we're
words.
not on the radio yet. It's just the stream, so everyone can see you. So if you want to use one of those bad words, feel free.
We get it out of our system
We
early in the
do.
morning.
Really early, Tony, but we can say all the things and we can say things that make people apparently really mad and want to fight us, like in Fight Club, like Candace. You know what I mean?
Does Candace want to fight you like it's Fight Club?
I don't know if she wants to fight us like it's Fight Club, but
It is kind of weird though that this is the second time that she's, like bothered to notice us, and we're
Yeah.
small potatoes compared to her. But we like
Totally.
made fun of like long ago, last year, or maybe the year before, we made fun of her shoulder pads
Mhm.
and she responded about it. And
Yeah.
like it was such an off the cuff sort of thing. And the fact that she took time with her following to respond to that, and now
It's
this,
weird.
it's
It's
just like,
weird.
it is weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, because we're nobodies compared to her. So we're kind of like, why do you keep responding to us? Why do you care what we think about anything?
It's weird.
It's weird.
We will dig into that. We're about to come back to the radio show, so I'm going to ask for your silence. So I introduce you, but I'll leave you up there. By the way, very different backgrounds for the two of you. The natural light for Daisy, and
I have some. It's on me
Right?
this way.
check out all the fine books I've read from Mom.
I don't read.
I have read them all. I have.
What happens in the moments where there is no purpose in having the conversation? Sometimes it doesn't pay. Some people it doesn't pay to speak to. And I believe that to be true, even though I do try, but I have said there are certain people that are out. And then I came across a post from the Chicks on the Right, Mock and Daisy, chicksonright.com and the podcast and everything else, the Mock and Daisy podcast. And they had put I think a better spin, not spin, just a better elucidation of the concept. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. The Chicks join me right now, Mock and Daisy. They're on the live stream as well. And this has to do with Candace Owens. And the amount I will tell you that I've spoken about Candace Owens in my entire career is maybe 11 and a half minutes. It's just not somebody who comes up, even with all the anti-Semitism and everything else. It's just not something I get to on a daily. But she's been just nutty on a tear since the bombing of Iran. We could go back to October 7th, those kinds of things. And now she's going after the wife of Emmanuel Macron. Her name is Bridget Macron, saying, you're a man, baby, basically, is what she's saying. And now she's getting sued. But I'll start with you, Mock. She reached out to you guys about having you on the show. Where did that come from?
Well, we had talked about the fact that she seems to have lost her mind, and our producers made like a short little reel of that moment when we were talking about her during our show. And on Instagram is where she reached out and said, come debate me. You know, all you can do is insult me, and you can't actually refute any of my points. So come debate me. And we have just 0% interest in doing that because of the way that she operates. And that's what we tried to make clear in the post that we put on Instagram and Twitter and wherever, is that because just to give you an example, like I tried to watch her series on Brigitte Macron being a man, and I got through about an episode and a half, and she overwhelms you with dates and connections and obscure, maybe printed once in like a pamphlet in 1930 kind of data, like that's in the weeds. And unless you have gone to the same depths in the same rabbit holes as she has, there's no way of refuting what she says in real time. So we just felt like it was a pointless exercise.
But someone could take that at first glance and say, oh, she's more well-read than you and you're afraid to engage, right? That isn't the argument that
oh, we got a ton of that. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so
yeah.
How do you respond to that one?
I mean, we could say, okay, fine, whatever. We may not be as well read about some of the rabbit holes that she's gone down. But I mean, I look at it this way, Tony. If I feel like she's anti-Semitic, she has become a Holocaust denier. If somebody at this point is denying the Holocaust, I cannot argue with them. I just can't. There's no changing their mind. It's like, we've been doing this for 17 years. This is not our first rodeo. We kind of know like who are the people that we're going to change minds of, and then who are people that we're not. She's just not a person that we're going to have a fruitful conversation with. Now, granted, it would have been nice to have her audience. That would have been beneficial to us, I think, right, from a platform standpoint. It would have been nice because she has a lot of people, we would have gotten a lot of eyeballs on us that maybe we wouldn't have had previously. But we were like, I just don't want to. We don't want to do that because some of
the reason that we said it the way that we did is because it would be like debating the Westboro Baptist Church.
Right.
These are crazy people, and these are crazy people that are basing their viewpoints on crazy, obscure, weird stuff that people don't generally know about, and using it to they're cherry picking weird passages in the Bible, for example. And that's what it would be like trying to debate with Candace. It would be just like trying to debate with those crazy people, because you can't refute what they're saying to you in real time unless you have gone into those same crazy rabbit holes. And I don't want to be anywhere near those.
We're not going into those holes. Not going in them.
Mock and Daisy, the chicks on the right, chicksonright.com. So I value this idea. I value this proposition tremendously, because it doesn't matter how many things you say about Brigitte Macron. If you believe that Brigitte Macron is a man, show me her penis. That in the end
right,
solves the entirety of the conversation, and there really is nothing else. Everything else is pseudo-intellectual exposition. But this goes down I think a larger conversation of where we think conservatism is and where we think conversation is. You bring up Westboro Baptist, but there are a lot of people who are not worthy of the conversation. And there are some people who do it because they want the eyeballs, which I think is a really interesting conversation about how one grows a brand and what kind of brand you want to grow. But rather, how many are we missing things because we don't have the conversation, or are we far safer because we avoided the conversation?
I don't, if I am missing the kind of content, for example, the Brigitte Macron series, I missed most of it because I couldn't get past about I couldn't get past episode 2, right? I was like in the middle of this and I'm like, I'm out.
It was too far in the weeds. Like you thought it was too far in the weeds for you.
Oh my God, it was exhausting. And so if that means I'm missing out on the full Brigitte story, that's okay, because I'm excited about hearing how it goes down in court.
Yeah.
So I'll catch up with it then.
And we talked about this on our show. We have a very different format than her. She is very detail oriented. Like she'll pick one thing and like she's like a pit bull and she will just shake it until it's dead, right? Like we are not that way. Our show is like 35 topics a morning. We cover everything. It's like a large swath of topics that we try to cover. So everybody knows what's going on in the world. Everybody's informed. We do it in a fun way. We're not Fight Club. You know what I mean? We want to have fun. Everything sucks in the news cycle for the most part. There's maybe like 10% of it that's a lot of fun. And so we try to lighten things up. You know us. You've known us for a long time. Like that's our thing. We want to make sure that people walk away and they're not completely freaking depressed, you know?
I don't know. I get it, but you got the post that you put out there, and you should re-up it if you can. Daisy I'm talking to the chicks on the right, by the way, Mock and Daisy. Get the podcast Chicks on the Right show with Mock and Daisy. I believe that's the name of it. The latest episode is
Chicks on the Right show. Right.
Can AI save your marriage and your wallet? That's the latest episode that is up. You're right. You aren't talking about world leader genitalia. How dare you? We're talking serious subjects. But there's a value to avoidance. Like that's a weird thing to talk about because everyone's like, oh, you got to confront, or you got to engage, or there's a value to stepping away from the thing, Daisy. That's
right.
We're mentioning that I thought was interesting. And I don't know if I would love to hear you kind of dig in on that subject, whether it's about Candace or anything else.
I don't think everybody wants to see a fight. I mean, I don't think everybody is in the business or in the mindset of wanting to see people throw down. I think people are I think some people, not everybody, because man, a lot of the people that wanted to see the fight were on our Instagram page, because believe me, I run that. And they wanted to see it. But there are a lot of people out there who are like, I'm kind of tired of, the fighting, especially between so-called conservatives, and they just don't want to see that. And to me, it's like, what is it? It's engagement farming. It's like there's a lot of that out there where a lot of people on our side are just there. I'm not saying that she would get popularity from us, but she definitely, if we did engage and we did some sort of a debate with her, it's not like she wouldn't have gained anything out of that either. Everybody's
which is why she was looking for it. That's why she wanted the fight.
Absolutely. So, I mean, people are looking to gain followers and clicks, and it's all bait. And we're just not, that's not our shtick. That's not what we do. We don't want to, we're too old for that. You know what I mean? We just want to put information. It's true. We're menopausal. Okay.
I have a new knee, Tony.
Right.
True. So Mock did have knee replacement surgery.
Right.
And we learned a lot about Daisy right there.
Right. So we just want to put information out there. And I understand, listen, I get the whole conspiracy theories over the past 10 to 15 years. A lot of them have come true. So people are not trusting of what you just just put information out there and just expect people to take it at face value. I get that. People are going to question, people are going to want to see back and forth. I understand that, because I'm one of those people who did, who saw a lot of stuff and we were like, wait, that doesn't seem like during COVID.
Not everything's a debatable question though, Mock.
Exactly.
I think that's right. the moral here.
Yeah. And not everybody needs to have conversations with each other. There are plenty of people far smarter than I who have gone to great lengths to debunk all of her crazy, and more power to them. Those are the people that she should be wanting to debate, not us, when we're just commenting on the surface of what we're seeing, which is terrifying. And we believe that she's contributing to the rise of anti-Semitism in the country in a big, big way. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. And so I haven't gone down her rabbit holes, and maybe she's taken a piece of something, and like there's a element of truth to whatever piece that she's grabbed a hold of. I find it disgusting, and her audience is not worth. It's just, what she would give to us is just not worth how we feel about talking to someone that we feel is that deluded at this point. I mean, it's gross.
And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that so many of those people who are freaking Holocaust deniers are on our side. We, like I said, we've been doing this for a long time. And like, this is the first time we've ever seen this.
Like, how are you? How are you doing?
How are you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Because of Candace Owens?
Well, no, I mean, because of all the things that she's propagating, because of how bad things have become for Jews all over the place.
Right.
Screw her.
I mean, it's not just her though, Tony.
Right. Oh, I got her. I got Dave Smith. I got Tucker. I got a whole host of people.
Right. You got a lot of people.
Stay with me right here, and I will tell you. I will tell you in the break, and then I'll share with everybody what I said to them in the break. That is Daisy. That is Mock. There, the Chicks on the Right. You can find the website, chicksonright.com, and the podcast, Chicks on the Right Show with Mock and Daisy. Subscribe now because they are engagement farming with me right now, and dang it, they want results. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. All right, so we have to go to the radio break. So here's the answer. I think I do an outrageously good job of segmenting myself and siloing certain things in certain fields. I probably don't discuss anti-Semitism as much as I might want to, because there's only so much I think that everybody wants to hear that conversation as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. I don't believe that the audience of Owens or anybody else is actually as strong as they would like to believe, in that I'm going to, from the political right, get attacked. The political left wants to kill. That's obvious. They're the ones punching people in the streets. They're the ones attacking people. I don't see that part yet from the political right. A Holocaust denier gets in most circles dismissed. This idea that Israel wants to drag us into a war, that clearly wasn't the case, and it got shown not to be the case by Trump and the bombing of Iran, and it's obvious to everyone exactly how real that nuclear threat was. I'm not staying up at night worried about it. But I'm more focused on conversations with the kids about it. That much is for sure.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we noticed, and I'll definitely speak more, because I know she saw it too on Twitter. She handles our Twitter. I handle Instagram. Is that people, we'd put stuff out there and it would be about Candace or about Tucker, or whatever. And they'd be like, what, are you guys Jewish?
Immediately. That's the question.
That's what and we'd be like, okay, well, neither one of us is Jewish, but what if we were
looking at you?
What?
I will have you know that I'm a daughter of a Jew.
She is. She's a daughter of a Jew and a Catholic. But like, what if we were? What if we were Jewish? That like, what if I answered the question? Yeah, I'm a Jew. So like, what?
Well, then what?
What are they going to do? Like, what is that? Like, what are these people? What's the end game to somebody saying, "Are you a Jew?" The question, some of the vitriol that we get from people just when we post stuff about this stuff.
Listen, I get plenty of crazy stuff. I get plenty of attack stuff. I get plenty of the ovens were built for you. I get plenty of those kinds of things. I took the first part of that question of, does it change how I do anything? And the answer is God, no.
No, that's not what I was asking though, because it's gone so far beyond like the typical old school kind of insults. Right. Now we're seeing like actions across the world that are really, really disgusting. I mean, like we played this morning, like this cellist in Vienna at a restaurant who just wanted to have a meal with his colleagues, and they were speaking Hebrew and were kicked out of the restaurant purely for that reason. Yeah. And so you see that all over the place, and you're starting to see examples of that here in the United States of America, which just is like for me. I mean, I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
And then when you see conservatives back those actions up, like it's somehow okay to do that, you're like, I'm sorry, WTF?
When did we become this?
Right.
So as much as Tucker or Candace or so-called comic Dave Smith says anything, I got 90,000 people saying you guys are out of your blanking minds. And so it's not, I'm buoyed by the fact that it isn't somehow given a voice and then left there to fester. It is immediately pushed back on.
I hope
You
so.
think? I
hope
just don't
so.
think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, because I feel like there's a lot. The fact that it's even happening makes me question, obviously, a lot of our educational system just sucks, and that kids aren't learning history. I mean, that real history isn't being taught, because I feel like history is starting to repeat itself. That's why we're concerned. We're just
It
concerned.
feels very pervasive, and that's
Yeah.
what makes me uncomfortable.
On that point, it is absolutely true. But the pushback from the right towards people on the right is real. The pushback from the left towards people on the left is non-existent.
Yeah.
And I think that it creates, I think there are two things there. I gotta get back to the radio show. To my Jewish sister Miriam, Baruch Hashem, I appreciate you. And to my shiksa friend Daisy, mayonnaise is delicious. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
It is. It is really good. I enjoy it.
Go live your lives. I hope to do this again.
Yeah, that was fun.
Too. It was super fun.
That's the chicks on the right there.
Bye,
Right
guys.
there. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Going to live their lives. Fine people. Fine. You want to talk about people who don't need this show? They've got like 92 trillion followers. I don't know what's going on there. It's incredible. Good on them. But concern is different, Tina, than how would I explain this best? You know, I'll save that for tomorrow. I'll save that for tomorrow's show. Let's get back to the radio show. Tariff rebates. No thanks. This is not what I was going for here. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you as I talk about tariffs and the trade deal with the EU. President Trump now floating the idea of giving Americans a rebate from tariff revenue, and putting out there that we're thinking about that. Actually, we have so much money coming in from the tariffs. We're thinking about a little rebate. And the little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice. If you tell me you're going to use tariff, quote unquote, revenue to pay down the debt, I don't like the tariffs as policy, but I'll take it. If you tell me you're going to use tariff revenue to then give people money back, that's wealth redistribution, and I am not interested. Because you didn't say that the rebate would go to the people paying the tariff. You said it would go to the people based on an income level. And that sounds like something that the Democrats would come up with. Reason number 90 bajillion, I'm not a populist. But and by the way, I think President Trump can handle this conversation. One of the weirdest things in the world are people like, you can't disagree with the man. I think you absolutely can. Just don't hate the guy. If there's anything I have ever learned about him, it's that this idea that Trump can't handle a criticism or a disagreement, totally untrue. He wants it to be fair. And I believe it is totally unfair, right? He wants the criticism to be fair. I think it's unfair to say, hey, you people pay the tariff. Now these other people, they get a little something back based on income. Because it would seem to me that if we're talking about tariffs on steel, well, then the steel producers are the one, or people who utilize steel are the ones paying for this tariff. Now who's getting it back? The company that's buying the steel from name the place? It doesn't jive. It doesn't work. And I think it complicates to a point of problematic. If you're saying we took in $140 billion, we just paid off $140 billion worth of debt, I'd be okay with that. If you, now maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I've just got a soft spot. If you said to me, we took in $140 billion, we need more nurses in America. So we just paid off every bit of nursing debt that's out there, and we'll pay for nursing school for the next 10,000 people who want to become nurses. I'd say, well, that's actually a national security conversation. I'd be okay with that. The latter, even more than the former, right? I could see my way clear to things. But you can't say we took this money in from this group And now we're going to give this group a check. That's something that AOC and Chris Murphy could announce. And I don't think President Trump wants to be around things that associate himself with Representative Ocasio-Cortez and the beta male Chris Murphy. Can't imagine he wants that. Nah, not in for this idea. Wasn't in to hear Letterman's latest on Colbert either, but here we are. Keep it here. It's Tony Katz today. Guys. All right. I am going to have to answer this anti-Semitism conversation. I will dig in. I do appreciate the chicks being here, because what I liked, there really is a very unique conversation. In not every conversation needs to be had. You don't have to talk to everybody. It's not necessary. I never have to sit down with Dave Smith, comic Dave Smith, to understand. By the way, if you have to call yourself a comic, you're not really a comic. If you were a comic, we'd know. It'd be like, Dave Smith. Oh, sure. We know Dave Smith. But we don't. Some things are better left unsaid at times, and some people are better left unspoken to. The conversation about the rabbit holes, I think people will take that as, oh, okay, they're just not willing, the chicks aren't willing to do the work, or the people aren't willing to do the work to debate her. No. The argument is some of the debate is not worth it because the rabbit holes are absolutely inconsequential. They don't provide anything to the larger conversation and the larger context. And that's everything. And I think that is the part. Just because name the person, not even Candace Owens, brings up, oh, look at all this stuff. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. It is not a sign of intellectual prowess. And I think that's a worthy conversation. I think that's good. So I'm glad they were here. Here's what's going on. We're going to take the break. We're in the radio break. So we'll take the break here. We'll get back to the show and more cigars to smoke and doing the whole thing. All right. Stick around. I appreciate it. We'll be back momentarily. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Good to be here. Appreciate everybody who enjoyed the conversation with the chicks. Why aren't they back more often? They don't love me. I don't know. They do. We've always done a very, very different thing, and their success digitally is remarkable. I have never had good success digitally, but my success analog, which is with radio, it's really good. So it's like, it's weird. I always feel this way about the career. The success I have is in the thing that is seen as almost backwards, except continues to grow. I don't know what to make of it. It's very odd. It's very peculiar. But no, they're what they have really have a fine understanding of their audience and a fine understanding of this digital presentation, and they've worked at it. It's very impressive stuff. So it's good to be with you as I'm smoking myself a Connecticut. I think what we figured out with the studio here is better. We've been regularly now streaming for a while. I think after 6 months, I'll be able to take a look at this and kind of be like, okay, where are we? What have we done here? What have we built here? For sure. But I have a couple more things to do, and I think in about 30 days' time, I'm going to be in a hiring place for some of that. Anyway, the radio show is coming back, so we will bring it to the show, and we will go from there. And that is the story. I'm writing myself a note. So Israel is now putting a pause to the fighting, the pause to going after the Hamas terrorists in Gaza, and are making sure that food is getting dropped to the people who live in Gaza. My God, for a genocidal nation, these people are terrible at genocide. Hold on, wait, what? What? They're not genocidal. It was just leftist claptrap talking point garbage. Right. Got it. Understood. Glad we got that figured out. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669, 833-GOT-TONY. Whether you be as ridiculous as the so-called comic Dave Smith. By the way, if you have to call yourself comic Dave Smith, you're not a comic. You're not. You're just a guy. Whether it be Candace, whether it be a host of people. Israel this, Israel that. Did you see there was a video, I think it was Piers Morgan's show, where one of the hosts from the Young Turks is screaming and yelling at somebody else who's on the panel, you little B, and this and that, and Israel this. No part of it's true. What do you want from me? And of course, I'll go back to where I start. Every single thing is the fault of Hamas. Everything. Well, Tony, the reaction's too much. Screw you, the reaction's too much. Everything's the fault of Hamas. All pressure should be on Hamas laying down their arms and giving back the hostages. This stops. Well, what about what's going on in the West Bank? First of all, you mean Jerusalem? Secondly, so we can all be perfectly clear with each other, we're not talking about innocence here. You're just fooling yourself. That is not a conversation of Israeli perfection. Far from it. I saw what these people did during COVID, and they may want to think about a constitution. I'm just saying it's a good idea to have a groundwork. I don't think it's smart to have a Supreme Court that can decide to overturn a decision or a piece of legislation based on what they view as reasonableness. And that reasonableness can change from person to person, year to year. That seems kind of nutty. Nutty. But Israel is genocidal. These people could go to hell in a handbasket. Jewish Voice for Peace, garbage. Rashida Tlaib, garbage. Can I share with you? I'm not going to yell. I'm not. No, you're not, Tony. You're not going to yell. Take a breath, take a beat, play some of your favorite relaxing music. Ah, that's better. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Puff of the cigar. See, everything's going to be all right. There is the weirdest video in the world from Rashida Tlaib. When I say to you, I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I have no idea what's going on from this Jew-hating bigot, Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman Michigan, shamefully voted for by people who want to believe themselves Americans. Oh, Tony, you're attacking people because of their religion. Oh, no. I'm attacking them for who they voted for because she's trash. Bigots should not be elected to Congress. I don't know why Democrats do it. I've got Robert Byrd. I've got Rashida Tlaib. And so far, the only difference is the size of the sheet. They both believe in their own supremacy, and they both believe other people need to be destroyed based on certain characteristics. So, you want to argue this with me? You're more than welcome to, boo-boo. I will do this all day. Meanwhile, Rashida Tlaib is standing in front of the Capitol. She's in front of the Capitol, or really to the wing of the Capitol, and she has got in her right hand a spoon. In her left hand, she has one of those containers that you would find in a salad bar, right? Or maybe an ice cream shop, and it's the metal container where they keep the cherries, and they keep it cold, and you put it in. Maybe the salad dressing was in this. I don't know where she got it. I assume from some Capitol cafeteria to which she is a thief, because I don't think she simply has one of these just hanging around the office space. I don't know what this is, and I don't know why this is. Maybe there's a whole video to which I haven't seen, but this happens.
Palestinian people, this is all for you.
I have absolutely no idea what she's doing or why she's doing it. What is this? I assume this is just an example of if you spend this much time being an anti-Semite, you just break, right? You just collapse and fall in on yourself. I do not know how banging on a pot is somehow a connection with I'm doing this for the Palestinian people. If I said, "Hey, I'm doing this for the Jewish people," and I started banging on my on my mug here, Jews would say to me, "What's wrong with that boy? Why is he banging on his mug? It's a nice mug. Why would you break it? That's ridiculous. My gosh. Hey, who wants lunch?" Like, that's basically what would happen. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is nutty. It's nutty to call Israel a genocidal power. Of course, it's a lie. It's a fraud. It's a fraud perpetrated on college campuses. It's a fraud perpetrated by the pseudo-intellectual set. And to the point of mocking Daisy, the chicks on the right, it is concerning that it gets clicks. In trying to answer that question, am I worried? Am I concerned? I would start with an overall. I'm always aware. I don't know if I worry. It could be an individualized thing, and maybe I should really engage it in a larger context, but allow me to take it from my personal for the moment. I'm aware. I have more conversations with my adult kids than I ever have before. I am knowledgeable that even in my own home, having any level of quote unquote public voice, and certainly it's true, people who are public or private or much larger scale than I am, they are under threat. There's just no question. And certainly I've spent a fair amount of time discussing the fact that all of this that we're seeing is a threat, not just to Jews, but this is a threat to Christians. This is a threat to Western civilization. And I've been trying for well over a year now to make sure, really since the start on October 7th, to make sure that tie-in is there and that connection is there. But what I see from the right, what I see from the political right in terms of bigotry seems to me to be two things: siloed and brand oriented. Meaning if I have no concern about anybody on the right who follows Candace Owens somehow thinking that I'm a threat. I have no physical concern about those people. Do I have concern that their nonsense could permeate places where kids are susceptible to this kind of stuff? Absolutely. But what I also see is on the political right, I see pushback, whether it's me, whether it's, you go to some usual suspects like Shapiro or the entire world of PragerU, or I can point to people who are with followings on social media. I can point to other radio hosts. I can point to people on TV that push back against this stuff. You see an actual pushback where we're not trying to intellectualize their pseudo-intellectual debate, but rather we're trying to push back on the bigotry as a whole. And I think that one of the best things that happened was Trump deciding to go in and engage the bombing of Natanz, of Isfahan, and of Fordo, these nuclear sites, proved that there was indeed a threat from the Iranians. The Iranians were close to nuclear weapons. They are building nuclear weapons, and they have to be destroyed. And the rational people said, yup. And so they got outed really as irrational. And I think that is very, very helpful. On the left, you don't see pushback. Whether it's who pushes back against Rashida Tlaib, who pushes back against Ilhan Omar, who pushes back against Ocasio-Cortez, who pushes back against Chris Van Hollen, who pushes back against Zoran Mamdani, who pushes back against Columbia and Harvard and NYU. And the answer is not the left. It is from those places that I expect the attack to occur, whether it be on the streets or whether it be in my home. Those are the people who I am concerned with. The Rashida Tlaib follower. And if you say to me, Tony, you have no proof of this, I'll say to you, I understand who was ginning up people to be a lone wolf and go after Donald Trump and hurt Donald Trump and kill Donald Trump. And that led to a shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. I know that it was a Bernie bro who went after members of Congress on a softball practice field, baseball practice field, that led to the almost death of Steve Scalise. And if it wasn't for the fact that he had Capitol Police protection with him, you could have had multiple dead members of Congress. The data's on my side in terms of who the violent people are. The violent people have shown themselves. The violent people are Antifa, who think that everybody they disagree with is a Nazi, thus denigrating the Holocaust. We see this. So my concern is not so much the person following Tucker, although I think the person who thinks that Tucker is right about Israel is just wrong. I think they're a fool. Candace Owens talking about whatever sect or a piece of ancient history, she's more than entitled to talk about it. Take her seriously? God, no. If you think that the world's problems today are caused by ritual circumcision, I think that's weird. By the way, if you have an issue with ritual circumcision, okay, that's fine. But we're discussing whether or not the problems are caused. That is scapegoating. If you're Jewish, that's history right there. So I don't think there's any difference in the level of pushback one has to have, or fight one has to have, or awareness one has to have. I was going into my senior year of high school and got back from a trip to learn that somebody had chemically burned swastikas into my lawn in Middletown, New Jersey. 2. Good size. By the time I got back, the grass had already started growing a little bit, but you could see them. Never once did my parents say, we live in a bigoted, anti-Semitic country full of hateful, terrible people. No, but I was always aware that anti-Semites existed. I've always been aware. I think the rational thing is to be aware. Social media helps mainstream things, and that is a problem. And then you have people who have these very large audiences who are further trying to mainstream things. And so when I see pushback to that, and Candace deserves every bit of pushback she gets, it would be a lot better if you were honest. You know what? I worked for Ben Shapiro, and now I hate Jews. Just say the damn words. Grow up. Be a woman already. Be strong. Be tough. Tucker Carlson, I can point you to moments on C-SPAN where he is just lambasting Pat Buchanan for the things that he now says. I don't know why. And in the same breath, I've seen people have been liberals their whole life, now conservatives. Things happen. People lose their minds. People find their souls. But what I see from the right is an intellectual pushback that is valuable and important, and I support it. And as a person of the rational mind, I appreciate it. What I see from the political left is not only no pushback, but an absolute fear to push back. And those are the people who will commit the acts of violence. Those are the people who act upon things and destroy lives. Those are the people who will set the synagogues on fire, who break into Governor Josh Shapiro's home and set it on fire. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to live my life as I do. Be fully aware and as protected as I need to be. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Guys, welcome back. Tony Katz Today. I'm catching up on some of the comments here. Let me see what we have going on. I have been on the air in Indianapolis for 11 years. Kenneth, 11 years I have been on the station. Walker, thank you. We love you. We always have. We took a poll, and you are loved third most. First, me, and then Pudding. Pudding. And then there's no traitors should be here. Libertarian, do you mean the show or do you mean in America? I'm just kidding. And do we mean traitors by the law or traitors because you disagree with them? I think I know what you mean. Yes, Mark. Pudding. Oh, Rashida Tlaib is traitor. Well, I certainly don't see her love for America anywhere. That much is true. That much is very, very true. All right, we're coming back to the show. All right. So, what else? I'm hoping today to have secured a spot for an event in August. I know it's going to be a quick turnaround. It's going to be very cool. And tickets will go on sale and they will sell out quick. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be spectacular, fantastic, and super good. So I hope to have that information for you tomorrow. That is my plan. Was it my imagination, or was there some kind of rally that took place in New York at Stephen Colbert's studio, the theater that he does the show from, that is going by the wayside because CBS is canceling the Late Show and getting out of late night? And people showed up to be supportive of Stephen Colbert. There were like 20 people who showed up. Do I have that right? Was that a fever dream? Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I can't believe this story is still going on. It continues with Letterman, who used to be great. And then he gave it all up for the politics. He had to hate on Sarah Palin. Some of those vile things about Sarah Palin, Sarah Palin's kids, vile, from David Letterman. Shame. Guy should be institution. It should be reverence on reverence. Recreated the talk show. Just sad. And, he's an Indiana guy. I'm in Indiana. He has part of an IndyCar team, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, and it kills me, but he is what he is. And he said in a video, the fact that they killed the franchise and told Steven to go. Now, for Steven, I love this. He is a martyr. Good for him. Martyr. Interesting. He says, 10 years ago, I quit and left. Then Stephen Colbert comes along and pretty quickly established himself as a precise, crisp, witty political satirist, and often his target has been the current administration. Not often, only. Come now. Come now. As the guys at Newsbusters put out, if you take a look at this year, not one single right-leaning guest has been on the show, but I think we're into triple digits or heading there for left-leaning guests. That is just as wrong as it can be. And then he states, if they were losing this kind of money, possibly $40 million a year, you're telling me they're losing this kind of money happened yesterday? Yeah, right. I bet they were losing this kind of money 6 weeks ago, or they have never been losing this money. Take a look at CBS News. It's still in business, and I'm not certain that's the profit center. So I think one day, he writes, if not today, the people at CBS who have manipulated and handled this are going to be embarrassed because this is gutless. No conversation at all about his failure to do the late night properly. Well, what would I expect? Because David did it properly and then didn't. He gave it up. It was too hard. You couldn't control your emotions. You can have your thoughts and still be funny because the other side does things too. If I had a late night show, you don't think there are jokes to tell about Trump? Well, of course there are. There are jokes to tell about all of them, and we want them. That's the point. We want the joke, and you didn't want to give it. You gave up, and you're celebrating Colbert, who never tried. Not having an honest conversation about vaccines, but have dancing vaccines and call anybody who doesn't get vaccinated a terrible person, un-American, awful, evil. Good Lord. Just really disappointing. Really disappointing when it comes to this from Letterman. Not surprising. He's not a martyr and he's not a hero. He killed late night and all the dominoes are going to fall. And it stinks. But this is the way it is. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Hold on a second. This just in from Amber. Trump was found guilty of felonies. He also committed fraud and sexual abuse. He was found liable for those offenses in civil trials and has to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for his actions. I'm sorry. What is this? What am I supposed to do with this? This is the felonies I'm expecting to be overturned. I don't know what you mean by fraud. The sexual abuse was found in a civil court. That is absolutely positively true. In the lawsuit by E.G. and Carroll, who no, I personally don't find trustworthy, but hey, it happened. What is this supposed to mean? How does this connect to anything that we are discussing? The felonies are trumped up nonsense regarding writing a checkbook from checkbook A instead of checkbook B. Everybody knows they shouldn't even have been felonies, but you had Alvin Bragg turn them into felonies and the court went along with them. That's why everybody thinks that when this thing is appealed, although I don't know if they're waiting until after he's out of office, that you will see this go away. By the way, call him convicted felon all you want. It just hasn't moved the needle. More popular than ever. Fact. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I gotta head out. Be sure to head over to TonyKatz.com and subscribe and download and do the whole thing. Be a part of it all. And yes, my Von Riest right here. Flederman Von Riest. This is the Einheit right here. This is in the Victory Blue. I just happen to love this blue here. You go to Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E, vonriest.com. Assembled right here in Indiana. Beautiful timepieces that will stand the test of time. You'll pass them down through the generations. Wear it daily. Wear it as your Sunday watch, however you choose to do it. A fantastic collection of timepieces from Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E, vonriest.com. Use promo code CATS and get your discount. Make that happen immediately, if not sooner. I appreciate you guys being here. And I will catch you tomorrow, y'all. All right? Beautiful. Thank you. Take care.